In the 1970s, the rich didn't just eat better, they ate dishes the poor had never even heard of. While many families focused on meatloaf and potatoes, the wealthy were busy selecting which imported cheese best paired with their scallops. This wasn't just a meal, it was a symbol of luxury and status. Are you curious about what money could really get you at the table in the 1970s? Join us as we discover 25 rich people's dishes that the working class never got to experience. Coquilles Saint-Jacques, scallops of St. James. In the 1970s, if you walked into an upscale restaurant where candles twinkled and expensive wine flowed, you would immediately see one dish that spoke volumes about the diner's status. Coquilles Saint-Jacques. Coquilles Saint-Jacques originated from the pilgrimage route to Santiago de Compostela, but its popularity in American fine dining restaurants transformed it into a timeless classic reserved only for the elite. The soft scallops would be pan-seared to perfection. Then they were combined with a rich, delicious cream sauce, often infused with mushrooms and white wine. This sauce was made from heavy cream, butter, flour, and aromatic spices. The entire mixture was then carefully spooned back into scallop shells, topped with a layer of breadcrumbs, and baked until bubbly and golden brown, creating a beautiful and luxurious presentation. To have a chance to enjoy this timeless masterpiece, diners had to reserve weeks in advance at high-end restaurants. The luxury and class distinction were further emphasized when the dish was often enjoyed with Gruyere cheese and a creamy white sauce, a high-end cheese that alone had a cost as much as a good meal for an average person. Given the difficult climate of the 1970s, this extravagance truly could only appear among the elite. Escargots. After Coquilles Saint-Jacques, this next dish once again returned to the French-American culinary fusion, another daring choice reserved exclusively for the wealthy diners of the 70s. Escargots, or snails, are a traditional French dish synonymous with high cuisine, also known as haute cuisine. This dish was a testament to the refined palate and culinary adventure of the elite. To create this rich and fragrant experience, chefs would carefully clean and briefly boil the snails. They were then placed back into their shells and topped with a generous layer of garlic and parsley butter, sometimes with added shallots, white wine, or cognac, before being baked. This dish was celebrated for its unique texture and rich, savory flavor. In the 70s, escargots flourished in the U.S., widely served at grand parties and galas of the wealthy, especially those reminiscent of the Gilded Age of Paris. It was on the tables of the richest people in the country. After enjoying the snails, affluent diners would use crusty baguette bread to soak up the leftover delicious garlic and herb butter. The combination of meticulous preparation and the dish's symbolic nature made escargots a hallmark of luxury that the average person rarely had the chance to access. What do you think of this dish? If it surprised you or even left you a bit stunned, don't forget to hit hype and share your feelings below. The foie gras dish truly captures the pinnacle of French culinary excellence. Foie gras, translated from French, means fat liver, and is usually duck or goose liver. Specifically, they use poultry that has been fattened up to ensure a rich flavor. Thus, from the start, this was definitely a favorite among the wealthy. The preparation process for foie gras is considered an art form. Chefs often prepare it in many ways: pan-seared, terrine style, or as a mousse. This dish is often paired with sweet elements to balance the richness, such as fig jam, concentrated port wine sauce, or poached fruit, and is usually served on crisp, toasted brioche bread. This is a wonderful experience, causing a food coma feeling with a smooth, melt-in-your-mouth texture. Foie gras originated in ancient Egypt. Although this dish was quite popular in French-American restaurants in the 70s, its real market was always found in affluent neighborhoods. The cost of foie gras could drain the pockets of an average person. Notably, a cultural detail of this era was that many Americans concerned about animal welfare expressed disagreement with force-feeding poultry to fatten them. But that didn't stop the elite from enjoying this delicacy. The luxury of foie gras was an affirmation of status that the poor class couldn't reach. Veal Oscar. Veal has always been considered an expensive cut of meat. Veal Oscar further raised its value significantly, introducing diners to a luxurious, complex flavor combination. This dish originated in honor of King Oscar II of Sweden, and it quickly became a favorite in fine dining restaurants. Veal Oscar is an exquisite blend of tender veal cutlets, lightly coated in flour and pan-fried in butter until golden. The meat is then topped with a layer of savory crab meat, or sometimes lobster, followed by fresh asparagus, or white asparagus in the 70s. Finally, the dish is drizzled with a generous amount of smooth hollandaise sauce, or other emulsified sauces like a béarnaise reduction. This was truly the dish for the 1%. This dish required high skill to cook each component to perfection. The use of unfamiliar culinary terms like emulsified sauces demonstrated the dish's difficulty and sophistication. Veal Oscar was loved by the elite for its powerful, vibrant flavors and the wonderfully soft, melt-in-your-mouth feel of high-quality veal. The complexity and cost of the three main components, veal, high-end seafood, and elaborate sauce, completely excluded the possibility of the average person enjoying it. Baked Alaska. This timeless baked Alaska dish is a dessert that honors the great state of Alaska, and it was a true showstopper in restaurants. Baked Alaska is constructed from three distinct parts: a sponge cake base, a dome of ice cream on top, and finally covered completely with thick, fluffy layer of meringue. This dish brought an undeniable dramatic element to a luxurious dinner. That's when the outer meringue layer would be torched until it turned a beautiful golden color. This presentation created a wonderful contrast between the warm meringue crust and the melting cold ice cream inside. Before modern cooking shows made the use of a torch commonplace, this performance created by the pastry chefs made the dish a main attraction in restaurants across the nation during the 60s and 70s. Although this was a dessert enjoyed by ordinary people too, it remained a delicacy for the more successful crowd. For the elite, this was a timeless dessert. People were willing to visit luxurious restaurants just to witness the spectacular torching display, transforming a dish into a memorable event. Baked Alaska was the combination of complex baking technique and theatricality that the wealthy of the 70s craved. Lobster Thermidor. Few dishes have ever created such a strong impression as Lobster Thermidor. It brought lavish richness to the table, fit for any member of royalty. This classic French dish is made from diced lobster meat, then cooked with a creamy mixture of egg yolks, Dijon mustard, and cognac. This mixture is also combined with bechamel sauce, white wine, and Parmesan cheese, creating absolute richness. Afterward, the mixture is stuffed back into the lobster shell, topped with cheese, and baked until golden. This dish has a deep connection to French history, named after a month in the French Republican calendar. The 70s saw a resurgence of interest in this extravagant dish, and Lobster Thermidor represented the pinnacle of luxury. Its unique and rich flavor made every tedious minute of preparation worth it. Preparation required considerable skill from the chef to cook the lobster meat to retain its tenderness and perfectly balance the cream sauce. This dish is the epitome of luxury, blending rich flavors with classic French culinary art. Lobster was already an expensive ingredient, and the meticulous preparation and accompanying components made this dish even more exclusive to the elite. Chateaubriand is a long name and a gigantic dish, presenting a centerpiece worthy of the finest banquet tables in the 1970s. This is the only cut of meat whose name was inspired by the dish it was used in, named after the French writer François-René de Chateaubriand, and developed by his chef in the early 19th century. This dish is made from the center cut of the beef tenderloin, famous for its incredible tenderness and delicate flavor. The tenderloin is often pan-seared over high heat to create a crust, then roasted to a perfect medium rare. An interesting preparation method is roasting this large piece of meat between two smaller pieces. Wealthy diners appreciated this dish for its simple elegance and melt-in-your-mouth quality. Chateaubriand symbolized luxury because of the skill needed to cook the tenderloin perfectly and the exclusivity of that premium cut. It was served with a rich sauce, often béarnaise, or a concentrated red wine sauce. The accompanying side dishes were no less luxurious, including shallots, demi-glaces, white wine, and especially the finest mushrooms money could buy. This dish was incredibly popular in the 20th century, the peak of steak dishes for the elite. If you love stories about the luxurious dishes of the 70s, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications immediately to discover more secrets of wealthy cuisine and dishes that will make you gasp in awe. Tournedos Rossini. If Tournedos Rossini needed to be described in one phrase, it would have to be over the top. This dish is a layered combination of extravagance intended to be the scene stealer, the heart stopper at the table. The dish is named after the famous Italian opera composer Gioacchino Rossini and had its brilliant heyday in the 1970s. Tournedos Rossini begins with a piece of filet mignon prepared to a perfect medium rare. This tender piece of beef is then crowned with a slice of pan-seared foie gras that is buttery and rich. Finally, the dish is drizzled with a rich concentrated Meuniere sauce, often infused with fresh truffle shavings. This dish perfectly captured the luxury of French haute cuisine, creating an unforgettable harmony of flavors. This was a hallmark of luxury, reserved only for the most exclusive venues. The reason is the extremely high cost of ingredients, foie gras, filet mignon, and truffle shavings, and the considerable skill required to prepare each component to perfect delicacy. Tournedos Rossini was the combination of the most expensive items on a plate, a dish the average class of the 70s could only dream of. Crab Louie. Crab Louie sounds like a funny dish, but it offered a refreshing yet luxurious meal beloved by the elite. This dish uses one of the most exotic crab species the elite could catch from the ocean, which is the Dungeness crab. Crab Louie is often called the king of salads. It is made with fresh crab, crispy romaine lettuce, hard-boiled eggs, tomatoes, and asparagus. The real magic lies in the Louie sauce. This sauce is a zesty mixture of mayonnaise, chili sauce, lemon juice, and spices, sometimes also made with thickly whipped heavy cream, finely diced green peppers, and horseradish. Enjoying this dish is an expression of refined taste. Showing appreciation for premium seafood, it required sourcing the freshest crab and vegetables. This dish is thought to have originated on the West Coast, possibly in San Francisco or Seattle in the early 1900s, and reached its peak in the 50s through the 70s. The combination of sweet crab meat and flavorful sauce created a balanced flavor profile, making it a beloved appetizer among the elite. Pan-seared scallops with lemon butter sauce. This dish featured scallops with a delicate texture and natural sweetness. The accompanying rich lemon butter sauce infused with fresh herbs and citrus added luxury. The secret of the dish lay in the pan-searing technique. The scallops had to be seared to perfection, creating a crisp outer crust that gave way to a soft, rich interior. This dish likely emerged from the French culinary tradition where seafood and butter-based sauces have long been celebrated. This dish was a harmonious, refined, yet simple and elegant creation. For the rich, scallops were a delicacy often considered a symbol of haute cuisine. This was due to their relatively high cost and the skill required to cook them perfectly. An improperly cooked scallop would be tough and lose its inherent value. Only the highest-end restaurants could prepare this dish accurately, ensuring the elite enjoyed perfect freshness and texture. Pheasant under glass. This dish brought a bit of theatrical elegance to the table, being one of the more refined culinary arts among poultry dishes. Pheasant, a game bird, is highly valued for its subtle, slightly sweet flavor. This dish consists of pheasant breast prepared with a mixture of herbs, spices, and a luxurious demi-glace. The dramatic element of this dish is the presentation. The meal is served under a glass dome to capture the intense aroma. The dome is lifted, allowing the diner to savor the rich scent. The bird is usually roasted or pan-seared, served in a concentrated wine sauce with shallots. Pheasant under glass was not just fine dining, but super cuisine, haute cuisine. It was a symbol of elegance and refinement. In the 70s literature, if you wanted to show a character was making serious money, you would write about them enjoying this dish. Pheasant was considered an exotic choice, and sourcing the game meat required special connections. This dish was a culinary show, as much as it was a meal, an ultimate luxury in both ingredients and service. Consomme, clear soup. When a person could earn what others worked a whole year for in just 1 hour, they would enjoy consomme. This dish celebrated absolute clarity and precision in culinary art. Consomme is a pure soup, both visually appealing and richly flavored, entirely different from a regular, often thick, broth. The process of making consomme required patience and high expertise. It is made by simmering meat, usually beef or veal, with aromatic vegetables and egg whites to create a rich broth. The chef must skim and clarify the broth until it achieves crystal clear transparency. This dish originated in France. According to the legend of King Louis XIV, the dish was so clear that diners could literally see their reflection in it. Since its inception, consomme has always been associated with luxury and served as one of the leading appetizers in French-American restaurants. It is a reminder of the precision and artistry that defined haute cuisine. Salmon en croute, salmon and pastry. Salmon en croute was an ideal choice for the wealthy who wanted to enjoy luxury while also trying to live a healthier lifestyle. This dish, also called salmon Wellington, involves wrapping a salmon fillet, already famous as the king of proteins, in rich puff pastry. For preparation, the salmon fillet is sliced in half, with filling inside, and lightly seared before being wrapped in the pastry shell. The filling is often made from salmon mousse, Swiss chard, or duxelles, a finely chopped mushroom mixture. This dish exudes the premium look of five-star dining, often served with a beurre blanc sauce. Salmon en croute became a staple in fine dining during the 1970s. This was a dish that wealthy people regularly incorporated into their diet. It combined the elegance of French culinary techniques with high-quality ingredients. This dish offered health benefits while also being an effective, beautiful main course at the lavish parties of the elite. The complexity and value of high-quality salmon made this dish a symbol of controlled sophistication. Mousse au chocolat. Mousse au chocolat might seem like a simple dessert today, but in the 1970s, it was the elegant symbol of Italian luxury. This luxurious French dessert was revered as the peak of sophistication. It was famous for its soft, velvety, smooth texture and complex, rich chocolate flavor. The dish is made by gently folding whipped cream or egg whites into a rich chocolate mixture, creating a smooth, melt-in-your-mouth texture. The process of making mousse au chocolat was considered an art form, with professional chefs having to balance temperature and texture to ensure perfection. Ingredients required high-quality chocolate, fresh cream, and sometimes a touch of coffee or liqueur. Chocolate mousse had been enjoyed in France since the 18th century, but it became more prominent in international high cuisine circles during the 1970s. High-quality ingredients like chocolate were often imported, further increasing the cost and exclusivity of this dessert. Mousse au chocolat showcased subtle simplicity, a perfect ending to the lavish lunches of the elite. Stuffed quail offered a delicate and complex culinary experience, considered a wonderful middle ground between comfort food and fine dining for the wealthy. Quail is a small game bird, highly valued for its tender, flavorful meat. This dish is quite sophisticated. For preparation, the quail is stuffed with rich ingredients like wild rice, foie gras, or chestnuts. To prevent drying out, chefs often wrap the quail in bacon or pancetta when roasting. It could be served with sides like truffle broccoli, cauliflower, or creamed spinach. This dish symbolized the exclusivity of French-inspired cuisine, that only the wealthy could regularly enjoy. Preparation required careful handling, although the addition of bacon was a distinct American characteristic. This dish represented elegance and refinement in the meals of the elite. If you had the chance to taste any of these super luxurious culinary masterpieces in the 70s, please tell us about your experience in the comments below. Fish almondine. Almondine sounds like a magical dish, but it is a relatively simple dish brought to America by European immigrants, later elevated by the wealthy. This dish consists of fish fillet, usually sole, trout, regular salmon, or any type of fish, lightly fried in butter and topped with sliced almonds. For preparation, chefs would coat the fish fillet with a thin layer of flour, pan-searing until golden brown and crispy. The fish is topped with toasted almonds, lemon juice, and brown butter. The combination of lemon juice and parsley as a garnish was highly appreciated. This dish appealed to the wealthy because of its simplicity, combined with delicate technique in frying and saucing. Many rich people were willing to pay the highest price for this dish, demonstrating their high appreciation for quality. This dish became outdated in the 2000s, but its flavor was wonderful. Cherries Jubilee. When hearing the word Jubilee, people immediately think of cheerful parties surrounded by friends and family, and that is exactly the kind of luxurious evening this rich alcoholic dessert would accompany. This is an alcohol-based dessert with quite a strong flavor, more than enough to awaken the palate after a lavish dinner. To prepare, cherries are cooked and then flambéed. Cherries are simmered in cognac, brandy, or kirsch. Golden rum also works. The highlight is the fire show, after which the dish is topped with a large scoop of vanilla ice cream. The process of flambeing the cherries can be quite technical. This means it was considered a formal advanced level dish, requiring skill from the chef, making it favored in high-end restaurants. This dish was loved for its peak cherry flavor, combined with cool vanilla ice cream. Sole Meuniere. This dish is a French classic, described as the pinnacle of fish dishes, showcasing the elegance of fresh, delicate fish. Sole Meuniere is a floured and gently fried sole dish. The sole is pan-seared in butter until golden brown, then drizzled with a sauce made from melted butter and fresh lemon juice. This dish was revered for the absolute precision in its preparation. Although it sounds very simple, it is an extremely difficult dish to get right, requiring skilled chefs to cook the delicate fish perfectly. The French truly knew how to capture the palates of the upper class with this ultimate refinement. This dish dates back to the 19th century and was a favorite among the wealthy. Raclette, melted cheese. Now, let's take a break from all the fish, red meat, and French cuisine and move on to a cozy yet luxurious dining experience, rooted in Swiss tradition. Raclette is a Swiss dish that is usually melted cheese. The semi-hard raclette cheese is famous for its nutty, creamy flavor. Traditionally, a wheel of cheese is heated and the melted part is scraped onto the plate. It is served on or alongside soft boiled potatoes for mashing, pickled gherkins, and cold cuts. Although it might be a popular street food in Europe in the 70s America, this dish was reserved for the wealthier because it was somewhat foreign and exotic. This dish brings a feeling of peace and tranquility when eaten. In the 70s, raclette became popular among the wealthy as a sophisticated communal dining experience. This dish reflected the desire for traditional yet refined meals that could be enjoyed in a more relaxed communal setting. Tiramisu. Tiramisu might seem like a simple dessert today, but in the 1970s, it was the elegant symbol of Italian luxury. This dessert has a fascinating contrast. The intense bitterness of espresso is perfectly balanced by the creamy sweetness of mascarpone cream. Tiramisu is made from layers of espresso-soaked ladyfingers biscuits, mascarpone cheese, and topped with cocoa powder. Chefs carefully layered each component to achieve the perfect balance of textures. This dish gained international fame in the 70s, representing the romance of Italian cuisine. This type of dessert required time and skill to prepare, signaling the wealth necessary to enjoy it regularly. Tiramisu quickly became an exotic staple on the high-end menus of the elite. It was a sensory experience that was both subtle and luxurious, an indispensable hallmark for fancy dinner parties. Today, you can eat tiramisu anytime, but in those 1970s, it was truly a dish of luxury. Bouillabaisse, Provençal seafood stew. Bouillabaisse originated in the lovely Provençal region of France, a seafood platter for even the most steadfast marine life fans. This is an extremely hearty stew made from various types of fish. Ingredients included monkfish, mullet or sea bream, along with shellfish, sea urchins, crabs, and even octopus. This dish was present on the most luxurious tables across the country. The cost and rarity of the ingredients were the main factors making this a rich person's dish. Sourcing all the ingredients was quite an expensive shopping trip. Lobster from Norway and Dublin Bay prawns were readily available to the wealthy in the 70s. Sources even suggest this dish had the potential to bring the vitality of a young boy back to the bones of an old man. Pressed duck. This dish might make listeners raise an eyebrow because of its uniqueness and complexity. Pressed duck took the fine dining experience to a dramatic climax, an unforgettable highlight on the 1970s menu. This is a complex and labor-intensive dish. Pressed duck is made by suffocating a duck, then partially roasting it and grinding the liver. The most dramatic part is when the duck's body is placed into a special silver press to extract the blood and juices. This juice is used to make the sauce and is thickened with butter and cognac. This dish originated in the 19th century France. In the 70s, this was a highlight of super cuisine, haute cuisine. The use of the silver press and the elaborate tableside preparation added to the luxury, creating a memorable event. It was a true demonstration of the chef's skill and the restaurant's commitment to extravagance. This pressed duck dish is a sensory experience, part culinary art, part theater. Poached salmon with dill sauce was the pinnacle of refined cuisine in the 1970s. This dish showed the skill of balancing simplicity and refinement, using salmon with a soft texture and natural richness. Poaching was the ideal method for cooking salmon among the elite, as it helped retain perfect moisture. The salmon was poached in a light broth made from white wine, lemon, herbs, and aromatics. Afterward, the fish was served with a luxurious dill sauce made from fresh dill, heavy cream, butter, and sometimes a hint of Dijon mustard. This dish was popular among the elite because of its healthy appeal during a time when lighter, French-inspired cuisine was trending. This was a luxurious yet accessible choice, offering the perfect balance between sophistication and restraint. Poached salmon with dill sauce was a hallmark of high cuisine, both beautiful and delicious, representing the elegance sought after by the wealthy. Truffle omelette. The truffle omelette is a humble dish completely elevated by the addition of luxurious black truffles. This dish consists of an omelette with truffles, a rare fungus highly valued for its earthy aroma and rich umami flavor. To prepare, chefs would lightly whisk fresh farm eggs with a touch of heavy cream, cooking them in butter. Thin slices of truffle were folded into the warm, fluffy omelette, releasing a distinctive aroma. This simple preparation method required absolute precision for the omelette to achieve the ideal softness. In the 1970s, the truffle omelette represented an appreciation for rare and extravagant ingredients. Truffles are one of the most expensive ingredients in the world. This reflected the wealth and exclusivity of the diners. This dish encapsulated the elite's desire for both premium quality and subtle elegance. Just adding thin truffle slices was enough to turn a simple breakfast into a royal meal. From the absolute subtlety of crystal-clear consomme to the drama of pressed duck and the extravagance of foie gras, it is clear that the 1970s was a period of stark division between two culinary worlds. Also, are you curious what those cheap meals for the poor were like? If the elite were luxurious in every ingredient, the cheap meals of the poor just needed to fill the stomach. Are you curious how 5 cents could feed a family of 6? Please check out the video, 25 cheap meals our grandparents ate to survive and discover it. If this luxurious trip down memory lane has sparked your curiosity, please hit like and subscribe so we can discover more secret stories of the past together. See you again.